All right. All right, you can see my screen, right?
Yep, I can see it.
Perfect. All right. So we should be good to dive in. So our presentation today is going to be all about small changes and big results, because ultimately what we do at On Point Nutrition is we try to get people to create small changes in their day-to-day, to learn about nutrition, to build the foundation, to then make these changes that lead up to really big results. Because doing things in a quick fix fashion doesn't really work for people. So we want them to slow down and really to build those small changes that come to those big results. So about On Point Nutrition. On Point Nutrition is an online nutrition counseling company, and we commit to helping people improve their health and build a better relationship with food through science-based, holistic approaches, ditching any kind of diet culture mentality. So we work one-on-one with clients who come in, they do a consultation. We pair them with the right dietitian or nutritionist on the team that will help them, in terms of personality match, in terms of focus match, and really work towards helping them meet their overall goals. A little bit about me. So I am a nutritionist on the team. I've been with On Point for about 5 years now. So I've been with the company for quite a long time. We started quite small, and now I've worked with over 800 clients within my time at On Point. So it's been really, really awesome to just learn the ins and outs of counseling as well as nutrition. I'm currently working on my master's in mental health counseling, because so much has to do with us psychologically with food too. So that's a big focus for me, is kind of understanding some mental disorders that go along with struggles with food and with, eating disorders. But ultimately what we're here to do is help people reach their overall goals. So yeah, we'll dive in. The first section I wanted to kind of go through is, these are kind of the topics that we're going to break down. So quick fixes don't work. We really believe in eating in a way that doesn't create restriction. We really want to focus in on finding something that works, that you can fit all foods in moderation, because ultimately, in order to eat well and to eat well long term, you have to find something that's consistent and something you can follow forever. We recommend developing a foundation based in nutrition education. So really learning the fundamentals to truly understand what your body needs and how it utilizes those nutrients. We recommend creating a healthy lifestyle. Health isn't just about the food you eat. Obviously, it's nutrition, it's movement, it's sleep, it's hydration, it's self-care, and all of these things as a whole go into creating that healthy lifestyle. And then finding balance. So being able to make room for treats and indulgences to avoid any kind of burnout. It's really important to be able to enjoy life to its fullest and be able to utilize food in that way as well. So in terms of quick fixes, I really wanted to kind of dive in here, because most of us understand what a quick fix diet is, but a lot of the times there's still that thing that we really want to do. So quick fix diets are anything that has like an end point to it. So a diet that you're going to do for 30 days or a 3-day cleanse or anything like that. The reason why we have, evidence and science behind the fact that they don't work is they don't really tackle the underlying issues that are going on that are causing you to struggle with food and nutrition or weight or anything across the board. So many people are really used to a quick fix diet that they can't really imagine any other way. We live in a really fast-paced world where we expect everything to kind of provide that instant gratification or that quick result. But weight loss that fast, or any kind of changes with nutrition that quickly, can can and easily will be regained, or will just go back to that old way of thinking. So our eating habits are formed over a lifetime and are really deeply ingrained into who we are. So if a habit is really deeply ingrained, it takes time and effort to really break that down and deconstruct it. So when people follow a diet, in quotes, they just kind of have to follow the rules rather than actually tackling those underlying habits. The second topic is that they only really offer those short-term results. So quick fix diets are typically restrictive, and they're usually given up on, or they go back to old ways after they finish that diet. They're also pretty unenjoyable and antisocial, and usually require a lot of willpower. So they're tough to stick to long-term. The yo-yo effect kind of says the same thing. It's kind of like whatever goes up must come down, or whatever goes down must come up. So that tends to happen with, quick fix diets. We lose and then we gain, we lose and then we gain, because it's this constant up and down of never really changing that thing that really needs the focus. And then again, change really needs to be sustainable. So we recommend that rather going on another diet, really trying to eat a balanced, overall diet that is filled with fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean protein, and healthy fats. So really finding that balance between those food groups. So a big piece of this, creating lasting change, is developing a foundation built in nutrition education. So at On Point, that's a big piece of what we do. That's different from a lot of other plans or programs out there. We really focus on helping our clients understand what nutrition is and why it's important. It can get super, super detailed, but even if you just know the basics, that's a great place to start. So most people have heard the term like macronutrient, and then most people, or everyone, has actually heard the term calories. So we kind of understand those two. But protein, carbohydrates, and fat are your three major macronutrients. So they provide our bodies with energy, which is our, that's our form of like energy that we take in, which is calories. So calories is our body's form of energy. And each macronutrient has a specific role in our body that allows it to function properly. And how that works is it's the same thing kind of with calories. Everyone has a certain amount of macronutrient breakdown that they should be getting, as well as calories based on lifestyle factors like age, height, lifestyle, goals, activity levels, all of those. At On Point, we don't actually have clients track calories or macronutrients. We actually simplify things for them, and we track food groups instead. So they're still specific to the person, but instead of thinking about like those really intense numbers, it's more you have a certain number of servings from your protein category, your starch category, your vegetable category. So it is a little bit more simplified, but even our foundation is built off of macronutrients and calories as well, because it is our body's form of energy. So carbohydrates, which get a bad rep out there a lot of the times, we've heard about the diets of taking carbs out, cutting carbs, this, that, and the other thing. But ultimately, the most important thing to know is that there are different kinds of carbs. So there's simple carbs and there's complex carbs. And 1 gram of carbohydrates provides 4 calories per gram. So that's a number that you can kind of start to understand as to how these things break down. You'll see that protein and carbs provide the same amount, and then fat provides a little bit of a higher amount. So carbohydrates are broken down into glucose, which is our body's main source of energy for our bodies. There are also specific carbs that help synthesize specific amino acids or like protein building blocks, and allow for consistent bowel movements, like fiber. So fiber is a type of a carbohydrate that can't be broken down by the GI tract, but it helps rid the body of waste, and it kind of keeps our intestinal tracts healthy. So as I was saying before, carbs aren't all created equal. Some are considered simple, and then others are considered complex. So if you have kind of a basic understanding of nutrition, this is definitely something that you've probably heard before. So simple carbs are those carbs that are easy for our body to break down for energy. And I want to reiterate that like simple carbs don't automatically mean bad. Like a lot of the times we think we should only have complex, only have simple. There's room for both, although more often than not, we want to be focusing in on whole grains, beans, lentils, legumes that typically fall into that more complex category. So simple carbs happen, more often in like processed foods and table sugar, but they're also in things like fruit juices, sweet potatoes, things like that. So a lot of those processed foods have more simple carbs in the form of added sugar, and those end up spiking your blood glucose levels or your blood sugar, which is why we want to be a little bit more mindful of those. Complex carbs actually take more time for your body to break down. And as they do that, that kind of keeps you feeling fuller for longer. And it makes your body work a little bit harder to break them down. So these are found in starches, grains, starchy vegetables. They usually have fiber unless they're processed, which means the grain is kind of stripped away from the bran, which is what makes like white bread, white rice, white pasta, which then turns that into a carb that's a little bit easier to digest. So again, starches are not bad for you, or we call them starches on our plan because carbohydrates are also in, we think carbs, we think of bread, pasta. They're also in things like vegetables. They're also in things like dairy products. So when we think about carbs, we kind of talk about them in terms of starches. So a big part is high quality carbohydrates are a really important part of our diet. They fuel our brain. They help our body accomplish daily activities. And, just consider the quality over quantity. Like that's really an important piece. A good way to think about a single serving of like carbohydrates, or what we would say is starches, which would be like, cereal, pasta, grains, that kind of stuff, is usually about a half a cup of like cooked grains or starchy vegetables, pasta, cereal, and then like a one slice of a bread product, like a half of a bagel or one slice of whole grain bread. And again, the amount of starch a person needs or the amount of carbohydrates a person needs really varies upon their activity level and what their goals are. So more often than not, you might need 5 to 7 servings of starch a day. It kind of depends on what your goals are. And you can also think about that in terms of grams also. A few tips that we have when it comes to starches is spreading them out evenly throughout the day. So instead of consuming all of your starch at night or all of your starch at lunch, or, having them at one meal, we really recommend keeping them spread out regularly throughout the day to help stabilize your hunger levels and cravings. We really recommend choosing those whole grains and legumes, and then when possible, trying to shoot for over 3 grams of fiber per starch serving or per, carbohydrate serving. So that's a good way to kind of start. And remember that these starches can really provide your body extra energy. So if you are kind of going out to do a workout, anything like that, kind of think carbs before a workout, they're going to give you that boost of energy. So the next macronutrient is going to be protein, which also provides 4 kilocalories per gram. Our protein allows our bodies to grow, build and repair tissues, and protect our lean body mass. They're composed of amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein. So there's 2 types of amino acids, and this is, you can go so deep into proteins, but we have non-essential amino acids, which our body makes, and then we have essential amino acids that we need to get through food. Sometimes they're transformed into the essential, sometimes can be used on their own, or are sometimes also transformed into non-essential amino acids. So main thing is that our bodies need protein. Our main sources of protein intake are going to be meat, poultry, fish, milk, cheese, all of that. They all consume any kind of like animal product contains all of our essential amino acids. But if you are plant-based vegetarian, you can also get all of your essential amino acids from a variety of different plant protein sources like beans, nuts, seeds, lentils, soy, that kind of stuff. So the recommended dietary allowance for protein is 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. And a lot of people think that this is quite low, but again, the amount of protein you need is dependent on your goal. So it really depends what you're looking to achieve. And are you trying to build muscle? Are you trying to lose weight? Are you trying to maintain muscle? It kind of depends on all of that. But most often than not, it's anywhere from 50 to 170 grams of protein in terms of needs a day. It depends on, what your goals are. Obviously, moderate to heavy physical activity will require a higher daily protein intake to really refuel those muscle fibers that are being broken down during that workout. So again, an easy way to kind of estimate your protein needs is to multiply your body weight times 0.36 grams. And then 0.36 times your weight will give you that amount of protein that you need per day. So just some healthy tips when it comes to protein is we recommend just knowing where your protein comes from. You don't have to buy everything organic or everything free range, but try to investigate where the animals were raised. The best we could do is no cages, crates, or no crowding. And the reason for this is not just like for the animals. It's mostly that a lot of the times these animals are going to be taking in better quality food that then is going to be taken in by you. So just consider that. It's the same thing. It's the same thing
How
with.
Are you?
Hi. It's the same
Get your
thing.
Wallet back.
Hi. Did someone have a question?
Jenny, did you have a question or did you?
Oh, that's a bummer.
Oh, Jenny, can you mute yourself?
Well, did y'all go over there or no?
I think I got her. All right.
You got it. Okay, thank you.
No, you're fine. So again, as we were talking about like the healthy protein tips, a big thing is also just choosing like fresh fish versus farm raised. A lot of the times fish can lose some of their omega-3 benefits from poor food quality and any kind of infection. So thinking variety with protein, that's a big piece as well. So then fat is that last macronutrient, which is going to provide 9 kilocalories per gram. There's trans fat, saturated fat, and unsaturated fat. And we really want to focus in on choosing mostly unsaturated fat, which is our good, healthy fats. So fat is the most calorically dense out of the macronutrients, but it does play a key role in brain development. It prevents against injury, and it provides the energy that our bodies need day to day. So trans fat is the fat that has pretty much been wiped out of our regular daily intake, but it is the fat that we want to avoid if you can still find it in certain things. That's the ones that is more often found in like margarine, shortening, some baked goods, doughs, fried foods. We really want to be careful with that. Saturated fat in large amounts is also known to increase cholesterol levels. It can increase our risk for heart disease. It's often found in animal sources with high fat content, like fatty beef or pork or poultry with the skin. The American Heart Association recommends that we only get 5 to 6% of our daily calories from saturated fat. And we're always going to take in a little bit, and it's pretty tough to cut it out completely. But just think that we primarily want to be taking in those unsaturated fats, which are like those good fats that we call them. They can decrease our risk for heart disease, and they typically originate from plant sources like avocados, seeds, nuts, nut butters, oils. They're also found in animal sources like fatty fish, like in salmon or sardines. So it's more often really trying to focus in on those healthy fats, adding fats when you're cooking from olive oil, avocado oil, canola oil, being able to add fats to your smoothies, but just being mindful that they are calorically dense. So we just want to be aware of how much of them we consume. So another thing to touch on with food is timing. So meal times can affect body weight, metabolic regulation, and even our sleep cycles. So it's important to just tune in as to when when you're eating. Throughout the day, our organs secrete hormones. And if we aren't eating in line with those hormones, we're essentially feeding our bodies calories at the time when it's less receptive to using them. So this is just being careful as to like how often you're eating, like eating regularly, not going too long without meals. In the mornings, our bodies are already in a fasted state, regardless of if you're practicing intermittent fasting or anything like that. They come from a fasted state of when we're asleep. So they need to be replenished with carbs, fats, and protein. Between your bigger meals, we recommend eating foods that will hold you over until your next meal. So usually something that has protein and fiber. And then for your bigger meals like lunch and dinner, we usually recommend providing muscles with enough energy and sufficient protein while continuing to support moderate blood sugar levels. And then adding in maybe a lean meat like chicken, fish, a complex carb, and a healthy fat creates a really balanced meal. So think protein, carb, fat at that meal. So again, just think about that timing and think about that consistency. So then I wanted to put together kind of like 5 tips to sticking to a healthy lifestyle, because again, like you don't have to change everything all at once. It's more about creating that change that's sustainable over time. So living a healthy lifestyle isn't just about the food you eat, it's about all of the other things in between. So a big piece of this is finding what really motivates you. Without having a motivating factor, you won't be able to stick to a healthy eating routine long term. So weight loss, more often than not, isn't a long-term factor, because when you get to that goal, you've made the goal, then what happens? So instead, we need to find something that will motivate you long term that you can use to make your lifestyle change long term. Like doing something like setting a good example for your children, or avoiding nutrition related disease, or monitoring a current nutrition like disease that could be nutrition related. So something like that is like long term that you can really see and helps back you up in this process. The second thing is time management. So many people can't find the time to grocery shop or meal plan or meal prep or do any of those things. So it is very, very important to figure out where you spend your time and look for gaps in your day where you could fit these necessary things in, or ask for help when needed. I work with clients all the time to figure out how in the world they're going to meal prep, grocery shop, make a meal plan, figure out, do the dishes, all of that. They might need to get some pre-made meals. They might need to, get some help with cooking or whatever it is, but you have to find a plan and you have to figure out how to build it into your schedule. The next tip that I have is make cooking more enjoyable. Healthy eating usually involves home cooked meals, because when we're eating out, we have no control over what we're getting or what is in the food. You might be ordering grilled chicken, brown rice, and broccoli, but you don't know what's on that chicken, rice, or broccoli. You don't know if there's added oil or butter or this, that, and the other thing. So cooking at home is important. And when it comes to long-term health, finding a way to enjoy some of that cooking process is absolutely essential. Embrace experimentation, try a meal delivery service, cook with a friend, like find a way to kind of find some kind of joy in it. The fourth one is strive for progress, not perfection. So everyone falls off track here and there, and progress isn't always linear. So no plan should be followed perfectly, and health is not about being perfect all of the time. It's about doing what you can when you can. So not beating yourself up or punishing yourself if you have something that's like less healthy. It's about being mindful of what happened, thinking about it, and not letting that spiral into the next decision. It's kind of saying, all right, I'm okay with the decision that I made. I'm going to move on and try to make a healthy choice at the next opportunity. When people get really off track, it's a lot of the time that like, I'll start tomorrow or I'll start Monday mentality, where they can't stop themselves at the source or stop themselves right after like the situation that occurred. So really try to strive for progress, not perfection. Last one is build a support system. So find a friend, a nutritionist, a dietitian, a coach, someone that can help hold you accountable, someone who can push you in the right direction. Because again, having support in this journey is really important because it's tough. You know, the world around us is pushing us to do things fast and quick and, you know, getting things done in a week or 20 days. So take your time and build a support system. So the last piece that I really want to leave you guys with is to find balance within your day to day. So with nutrition, start with small steps moving forward. Take things one day at a time. Focus in on little things that you can change, like you guys are having pizza right now. Maybe in the future, it's that we order pizza and we order a big salad for everyone. Yeah, good. So it's little steps. Like, okay, if you really crave sweets after lunch, like, can you have a square of dark chocolate and see if that resonates with you rather than having a muffin or a cookie every day? Like, see about these small little steps. Avoid eliminating entire food groups. There's a lot of diets out there that are like, only eat fat, only eat protein, don't eat carbs. They are the enemy. Don't eat fruit. Don't cut anything out completely, because again, that creates this place of restriction where eventually you're going to end up overindulging. So really take things like, we want a balance of all food groups. We want a balance of those macronutrients. And typically those balanced meals kind of have the overall idea of like a protein, a vegetable, and a starch, with your fruits, your dairies, your fats kind of trickled in between. With movement, it's really important to find a form of movement or activity that you enjoy. If you are working out and you hate what you are doing and it's a drag to get you there every time, it's probably not the right kind of movement for you. It's only you're going to be able to build a habit with it and build consistency and discipline with whatever form of movement you're doing if you find joy in it, or at least a little bit of joy. It doesn't mean like every single time you go to the gym or to a workout class or Pilates or whatever that you like love every minute of it. It's about finding something that you want to go back to and that you feel de-stressed after, or you feel like it's a piece of your self-care. Another thing is properly fueling for your workouts. I can tell everyone that I have had probably over 100 clients that I've been able to get them to eat something before a morning workout. And they come back to me and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe how much energy I had in that workout. Because so many people think, let's just get up, get it done. But what does your body use for energy? It uses food, it uses fuel, it prefers carbohydrates. So don't be afraid to have a small snack before that workout, to have a banana on your way to your 5 a.m. spin class. Like, just give it a shot, because fueling those workouts before and after is really essential for your body. And then don't forget about rest and recovery. I mean, I feel like everyone at this point has heard that you can't out-train a bad diet. Like, food is like up here and activity is down here. It is a supplemental thing in being healthy, but ultimately, like, we need to make sure that we're hydrating, we're eating well, and we're resting. Like, if we are not sleeping enough, we also aren't going to see progress in terms of weight changes or muscle gain or fat loss or whatever it is that you're shooting for. And then hydration. Regardless of how much water you're drinking right now, you probably could drink more. We have a baseline of 64 ounces a day for our clients, but ultimately I usually have clients set the bar way above that, especially if they're active or they live in hot climates or anything like that. If you're sweating more, we need to be replenishing those stores constantly. Still considering decreasing sugary beverages, and just being mindful that sugary beverages can kind of like come in places that you don't really think about. They can come from alcohol, they can come from tea, they can come from kombucha, they can come from like all of these like juices that we don't really think too much about. Just be mindful. Like, we know the normal culprits of like soda and lemonade, but think about the other places too. And then just a big hack for water is like, get a water bottle that you can keep with you all the time. Bring it to the office, bring it in your car, bring it when you're out running errands. Like, if you have it with you, you're more often than not going to drink out of it. So get something that helps you stay more on track. So yeah, that's kind of the basics of nutrition and just kind of what I wanted to go over today. We have a little bit of time, so I'd love to get some questions and kind of hear from you guys if you have anything that you want to chat about.
Oops, I opened my mic.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm getting the, oh, that's better. So we can kind of have a discussion, we can chat, we can go over questions. I can go back to a slide if you have anything that you want to go over. What do you guys think?
I have a question. Sandra and I are in the same room, so she can't use her computer. Like, don't use your computer.
Yeah.
You talked about, and I know a lot of people are into intermittent fasting. And what are your thoughts on intermittent fasting?
So my thoughts on intermittent fasting are that more often than not, people are using it as a way to lose weight because they're just eating less food in a smaller amount of time. We really don't need to be fasting any longer than our body is fasting at night. There is no proven science or evidence around losing weight easier or quicker or anything like that when it comes to fasting. And more often than not, the reason that I don't recommend it is because it still creates a life of restriction. It doesn't allow you to live and eat intuitively. It actually puts you in a place where you're only allowed to eat in a window of eating, which also fuels that idea of like, you can and you can't do this. So having rules around food will still create restriction. And I just find that like, if you want to go to breakfast with a family member or a friend, but you can't start eating until 12, like that is putting a restriction on your body. If someone is so gung-ho and will like not eat until 11 or 12 o'clock with me, I just let them know that they have a certain amount of food that they need to get in that amount of time. I'm going to push them to try to break that window or break that cycle. But if it's something that they really want to do, again, try it as you need, but more often than not, you're just going to be eating really, really big meals that leave you feeling quite full. And it just still can kind of put you in that place of feeling restricted. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else have questions? I have two people in the room with me. Do you guys have questions?
No. What about dietary supplements? There's a lot of keto pills and things like that.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard that. Supplements are totally what they sound like. So they are supplemental. So I usually say with supplements, the only time you really need a supplement is if you are lacking in something. So if you get blood drawn, you get your results and you're low in vitamin D, you probably should be taking a supplement. If you want to take a multivitamin to ensure that you're getting all of those micronutrients that you might not be getting through food or you might not be getting enough of through food, absolutely a great thing to work into the mix. But besides that, I don't really recommend anything on a daily basis. A lot of people might use collagens. Some people will use protein powder. That's just, again, to help supplement what they might not be getting in food. If you eat a balanced diet, technically you shouldn't need any specific supplements. But more often than not, it's getting blood work, seeing what you're deficient in, seeing what you might be low in. And that's what I would recommend in terms of a supplement. I'm not really sure what a keto supplement is. Makes me nervous because what's going on with the keto diet is that you cut out full food groups. So I'm not sure what they are because I don't really work with people who practice the keto diet. Do you know what they are? Like what is in the supplement? I'm just curious.
No, I have no idea. You see so many commercials with, it's like, buy these pills, you'll lose weight in 10 days or whatever.
Oh yeah. So keto support, I literally like 2021's best keto supplements. And what's going on there is because of because what you're doing in the keto diet is you're consuming a high amount of fat, a very low amount of carbs, you're actually tricking your body into burning something that it does not prefer to burn as its major source of energy for energy. So your body wants to use carbohydrates for energy. That's what we use as our preferred source. But when they're not getting enough of that, it has to dip into its sources and utilize fat for energy instead. This diet is only ever recommended medically for people with epilepsy. This is actually what it started as. And what makes me nervous is the fact that there has to be a supplement for that just goes to show that you're probably missing out on a lot of micronutrients that you should be getting in the broad range of food that we should be eating. So if you can eat the rainbow, if you can eat, fruits and vegetables and fiber and a balance across the board with protein, carbohydrate, and fat, you shouldn't need any major supplements on a day-to-day basis. And then any supplement that's telling you that you can lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks or 10 pounds in 10 days, anything like that, I almost guarantee it won't work. Or if it works, you'll gain it back, maybe plus some.
Yep. No, but I was just curious. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Any other questions from Z or Dawn, Barb?
And if not, is there anything else that you want to know? Is there questions that you have about what we do at On Point or about what I do?
Yeah, if you want to go through an overview, I think it's interesting. I was telling before, I think Dawn might have been on the phone, but my son needs a registered dietitian, and he's moving to the school in Chicago. And I'm like, I have no idea. I can't even find one here. So I was just asking a little bit about their services. So I'd love to hear more. Thank you.
Absolutely. So what we do at On Point is exactly that. So we are a team of dietitians and registered dietitians and nutritionists. And we work one-on-one with clients. So how the process works is you'll set up a consultation, and you will meet with one of our members of the consult team, and they'll figure out what your goals are. Each person on the team has kind of a specialty or a few different specialties. So say you're struggling with type 1 or type 2 diabetes. We have someone who specializes in that. We have someone who specializes in whole foods, plant-based diet. We have someone who specializes in GI, like food related things. So across the board, that's kind of what helps in the pairing process, as well as we really want to make sure that personalities pair as well. So that's a big piece as well. We meet with our clients pretty frequently. So we have anywhere from twice a week programs to bi-weekly programs, but more often than not, we're at least seeing each other in the beginning every other week or every week. So we really get to know each other, and we want to make sure that personalities mesh. A lot of people come to us for many, many different reasons. So from things like creating a better relationship with food to disease management to just creating a better relationship with food and eating better for our bodies, changing over to a vegan diet and making sure that you're getting all of the nutrients that you need. So kind of across the board, we work with people for many, many different reasons and to reach many different goals. So then we kind of dive in, and more often than not, like we are a big support system for our clients, and we help them work towards whatever they need to do. So when they join, we do have an app that we use that our clients log their food in. Most clients will log their food, especially in the beginning, but we do have some clients that might never log their food because for some people that can be a little bit triggering. It can be pretty overwhelming. So we'll work with them to figure out what fits best with their goals and how we can utilize our systems to still set them up for success.
Great.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great resource. I had no idea. Like, I was kind of banging my head against a wall. So I'm glad that, and I wasn't even thinking about it when I booked you guys.
Now it's here. Absolutely. I mean, that's the great part is like, so we actually were virtual even before the pandemic. So we have always been a virtual company. But I think that the comfortability with being virtual has become so much more like normalized because we had this whole thing happen to us that everyone is used to using Zoom now. So previously we would talk on the phone with our clients, we would FaceTime with our clients, we would use, then we used Skype for a little and then we moved over to Zoom. But now it's so easy that clients can talk to us on their lunch break or on their commute to work or on their way home. And makes this simplicity of meeting with your dietitian easy. You
Yeah.
don't have to worry about going to an appointment, waiting in a waiting room. You know, we're right on your phone to chat with us whenever. So our app has a chat feature between us and our clients. So between your dietitian and your clients. And what we do is, you know, say a client is going out to dinner for whatever, like this week I'm planning for Mother's Day with a lot of my clients, and they're like, okay, we're going to dinner here, we're going to brunch here, and we'll literally pull up the menu and look at it together and come up with a game plan. You know, we'll work through ways and tactics to still feel on track, but also be able to enjoy whatever day that is. So we really want people to find a lifestyle that works for them, that they eat well, they nourish their bodies, but ultimately they don't lose the ability to live life and be able to hang out with their family and friends, because that's what life should be.
Exactly. Thank you so much. And what was your name again?
Ivy.
Ivy. Oh, thank you so much, Ivy.
Of course.
Any other?
Did I not introduce myself? I'm so sorry. Yeah,
so. That's okay. No, everything else went really well. No good. It was all good.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, and you've got time, and we don't seem to. Well, Don might have a question.
No, I don't. I was just going to say thank you.
Of course. Yeah. So my name is Ivy. All of our information, and we can probably send that out, was on our last slide. I can always pull this back up.
Yeah, we're going to send out an email to everybody afterwards. So everyone will have the contact information, and they're going to give us some more tips, I think, is what they said.
Yes. And I think we should be able to, they might even be able to do the recording, but there's definitely will be some extra tips there. But let me just share you guys this if you want to just like screenshot it or anything. So this is our website. We are on Instagram. So if you want to look us up on Instagram, we are like adding tips and recipes and ideas, specific like GI related stuff. We do live webinars, and we do kind of like IGTVs. So that's always ongoing. So you can always check us out there. And then on our website is where you can go to our first initial consultation is free. So that's a really great way to even find out if we're like a good match for you guys, if you're looking for any kind of nutritional support.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your
You
time.
are so welcome.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.